Hi, my name is Anita Wesley and I'm the building manager at Lindell Terrace. The purpose of this video is to help the owners and residents of Lindell Terrace understand the heating and air conditioning system. With me today is Pete Mall from the company. This is Pete. Welcome.
Thank you.
One thing I want to do first is to help the residents understand about what we call a two-pipe system and how it works. Could you please explain that for us?
When the building was built, it was customary for a two-pipe system so that you either have cold water available or hot water available. In the summer, obviously, you have cold water, and then at some point during the year, this changeover is made, and then you have hot water available, and you get heat out of the convector instead.
Typically, we make that changeover on April 15th and October 15th. That could change depending on the weather forecast, but we do try to stick with the April 15th and October 15th changeover dates. There are always going to be seasonal changes before and after where it's going to be a little uncomfortable in your units. There's just unfortunately not a lot we can do about that. We suggest that you have a fan or a space heater available for those dates where you are a little uncomfortable. Pete, could you please explain to us how we adjust the temperature?
Inside one of the covers, and it changes back and forth depending on what kind of unit you have. You'll see two controls. There's a knob that says warmer or cooler, and a knob that has off, high, medium, and low. The off obviously turns the blower all the way off, and then you have the different speeds available to you. On the thermostat, it will control your temperature in your room. The sensor for the thermostat is actually down by the return air, which draws in through here, and it just monitors that temperature, and then it has the effect of opening and closing the water valve to either send the hot and cold water through the coil. Now, it doesn't have temperature graduations. It's going to have to be something you have to kind of play with to see where it feels comfortable in your space. And then and you can go with low speed into mild temperatures if that's what you prefer, but once you get into extreme weather, where it's very cold or very hot, you're going to need to ratchet that speed up on the blower to move more air through the coil to give you more cooling or more heat.
Pete, could you show us the components inside the unit?
Yeah, all right. These doors have been painted closed a number of times, and the little catches, they're 50-year-old, just like everything else, and in most cases they don't work. In most cases they're missing. So really it is just friction that holds this bottom panel on. So you don't like to come off, but that's how you get that off and on. So twice a year, the association changes the filters in all of the convectors, and they come through and put new filters in, and these are the filters that are in there. The big components that are in the unit, you've got the blower, the little blower motor. They are starting to go bad. I'm sure you've heard that they are going bad. They are parts that can be ordered pretty readily available. Sometimes they're on back order, but they can be gotten. Over in this compartment here, you've probably heard about the operator. This is the operator right down here. It allows the water to go through the coil or to go back to the water system. This here is the changeover thermostat. It looks at the water temperature in the pipe, and if you need cooling and there's cold water available, it allows the valve to open. If you need cooling and there's only hot water available, it won't open that valve, so that you would get hot air instead of cold air when you want just the opposite. And then you've also got a couple of hand valves down here. And you use these to stop the water flow to the valve and to the coil.
Pete, sometimes I see water in those pans, both the large pan and the small pan. Is that okay?
Yes, by design, during the cooling season, the units also dehumidify your space. And so condensation from the coil behind here runs into this pan, and then it drops down from the upper pan to the lower pan, where it heads out of the unit.
Pete, occasionally I hear stories from our owners that the floor is buckling or they feel dampness in front of their convector. What causes that?
Usually it's one of the pans that has developed a leak. And if that happens, the best thing to do is to reach through this panel and close the two valves 100%. There's a stop at both ends. It's quite a few turns. But what that will do is stop any water from flowing through the coil and creating any more condensation, which is the primary problem with the units.
Pete, you showed me how to turn the water off so I'm not creating any further damage to my floor. So what are my options now? What do I do?
The small pan, we've actually had some made up of stainless steel, which, solves the problem permanently. On the bigger pan, we've had some luck adding a waterproofing compound to it. The problem with that is that the coil sits right down inside the pan, and you can't get to the back part of the pan. So if the leak is back there, there's not much can be done besides changing the pan, which is not going to be easy to do, or changing the entire unit, which at that point is probably a better option.
Thank you for taking the time to watch the video. Again, I wanted to reiterate the difficulty we have in the seasonal changeover. We try to select the best date possible based on the weather. Again, somewhere around the April 15th and October 15th dates. We cannot switch back and forth easily. It's a very expensive proposition, so we try to do it just once per season. So we strongly suggest that you be prepared with a fan or a space heater to remain comfortable during the unseasonable temperatures. Thank you again for watching the video. We have a list of available contractors, qualified contractors who are familiar with the system, who can make the repairs as necessary, as it is the owner's responsibility to maintain their own convectors. Thank you again.